Good evening, you're watching 7 at 7, the only news bulletin where I curate the day's top 7 stories for our viewers. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. These are the headlines. Prime Minister Modi rips into Parivarik parties for boycott Constitution Day celebrations in Parliament, says dynastic parties a threat for democracy. One year of farmer protest, thousands of Kisans assemble at Delhi borders to mark the day. Farm laws rolled back, but farmers plan tractor march to demand MSP on the 29th of November. Worst COVID strain emerges. Israel detects first super mutant strain. France suspends all flights from virus origin. South Africa, new strain could make vaccines 40% less effective. New super mutant COVID strain threat triggers bloodbath on Dalal Street. Sensex plunges by over 1,650 points, the steepest fall in 7 months. Commercial international flights to resume from December 15th. International flights were suspended in March 2020 due to COVID outbreak. RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat calls for abolishing partition. Says partition pain can only be resolved by integrating Pakistan with India. Heavy rains lash Tamil Nadu, waterlogging in several parts of Chennai. Met Department issues red alert. All right, viewers. On Constitution Day, the Prime Minister hit out at the opposition parties for boycotting various events that were planned around Constitution Day. Also hitting out at what he called were dynast parties.
Party for the family, party by the family. अब आगे कहने की जरूरत मुझे नहीं लगती है। पता नहीं संविधान का एक पेज भी हम पूरा कर पाते, क्योंकि नेशन फर्स्ट कालक्रम से राजनीति ने उस पर इतना प्रभाव पैदा कर दिया है कि देश हित भी कभी-कभी पीछे छूट जाता है।
This was the Prime Minister's message to the opposition on Samvidhan Divas. Slamming Parivarvad in politics, Prime Minister Modi from the Central Hall of the Parliament fired this attack, seemingly at the Congress.
Party for the family, party by the family. अब आगे कहने की जरूरत मुझे नहीं लगती है।
Prime Minister Modi did not stop at that. He called dynasty politics a threat to democracy, a message clearly intended for the Gandhis.
उसमें से आज देश में कश्मीर से कन्याकुमारी, हिंदुस्तान के हर कोने में जाइए, भारत एक ऐसे संकट की तरफ बढ़ रहा है जो संविधान को समर्पित लोगों के लिए चिंता का विषय है, लोकतंत्र के प्रति आस्था रखने वालों के लिए चिंता का विषय है, और वो है पारिवारिक पार्टियां।
The Congress jumped to the Gandhis' defense with this counter.
Prime Minister himself is singling out the Congress party by making such kind of disparaging comment. I feel very bad of Prime Minister's comment today.
The Shiv Sena, led by Thakres, also took offense to the Prime Minister's dynast advice.
सत्ता किसके जरिए पाली, इन्हीं पारिवारिक पार्टियों के साथ में आप हाथ मिलाते रहे। जो विचारधारा को लेकर चलता है ना, वो हिलना भी नहीं चाहिए। वहाँ तो जाना ही नहीं था ना पारिवारिक पार्टियों के साथ में, क्यों गए? उनकी सीढ़ी पकड़कर ऊपर जाते और बाद में सीढ़ी पे लात मारने की बात आ जाती है। यही तो गलत सोच है ना।
But the opposition faced fire from the Prime Minister from all corners. The Congress led a boycott of the Constitution Day event, claiming it was a political event, and it prompted a strong response from the Prime Minister.
ये कार्यक्रम किसी सरकार का नहीं था, ये कार्यक्रम किसी राजनीतिक दल का नहीं था, ये कार्यक्रम किसी प्रधानमंत्री ने आयोजित नहीं किया गया था। ये सदन का गौरव होते हैं स्पीकर, सदन का ये स्थान गौरवपूर्ण होता है। स्पीकर की एक गरिमा होती है, बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर की गरिमा होती है, संविधान की अपनी एक गरिमा होती है।
President Kovind too said that political differences should not clash with service to the people. But the Congress refused to budge on their stand, maintaining that the Constitution Day event was a BJP event.
विचारधारा में मतभेद हो सकते हैं, लेकिन कोई भी मतभेद इतना बड़ा नहीं होना चाहिए कि वह जन सेवा के वास्तविक उद्देश्य में बाधा बने। यह प्रतिस्पर्धा बेहतर प्रतिनिधि बनने और जन कल्याण के लिए बेहतर काम करने की होनी चाहिए, तभी इसे स्वस्थ प्रतिस्पर्धा माना जाएगा।
But the Congress's attack was dented by a split in the opposition ranks. TMC chose to ignore the boycott call, a sign of disintegrating opposition unity ahead of the crucial winter session of the parliament.
The Prime Minister lashed out at the opposition parties on Constitution Day, pointedly attacking the Congress for its dynastic politics. With the Congress upping the ante, the tone for a stormy winter session is all set. With Poulami Saha and Supriya Bharadwaj and video journalist Ashok Bhanot, this is Mosmi Singh in Delhi for India Today.
Because today marks the 13th anniversary of 26/11, the attack which took place in Mumbai. Well, lots of events were planned around it, but it is a day, a red letter day, which will go down in the history of the country. It was the third day in 2000, it was on this day in 2008 when 10 dreaded Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists wielded guns, entered into India's financial capital Mumbai and created mayhem. Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari, Deputy Chief Minister Ajay Pawar, Aditya Thackeray visited Police Memorial and offered their tributes to the brave hearts. Home Minister Amit Shah too put out a tweet in remembrance of people who lost their lives and saluted all the security personnel who bravely faced terrorists. In a series of attacks, 140 Indians and 25 foreign nationals lost their lives. Meanwhile, India has summoned a senior Pakistani High Commissioner diplomat on 26/11 anniversary and pressed for the expedition trial in the case.
आज 26/11 हमारे लिए एक ऐसा दुखद दिवस जब देश के दुश्मनों ने देश के भीतर आकर के मुंबई में वह ऐसी आतंकवादी घटना को अंजाम दिया। देश के सामान्य मानवीय की रक्षा की जिम्मेवारी के तहत अनेक हमारे वीर जवानों ने उन आतंकवादियों से लोहा लेते लेते अपने आप को समर्पित कर दिया, सर्वोच्च बलिदान दिया। मैं आज 26/11 को उन सभी बलिदानियों को भी आदरपूर्वक नमन करता हूं।
All right, viewers, during a book launch, RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat made the push for Akhand Bharat, saying that partition is the biggest pain that India has to live with.
मातृभूमि का विभाजन, देश का विभाजन, विभाजन, मातृभूमि का विभाजन, देश का विभाजन, ये न मिटने वाली वेदना है। उसका निराश तभी होगा जब ये विभाजन निरस्त होगा।
Firstly, Mr. Mohan Bhagwat should stop preaching the whole country. They must know how India, the idea of India has emerged how the Republic of India is being built. They are trying to redefine Indian nationhood. It is they who pose grave threat to the secular democratic fabric of the country. That is what the RSS chief should understand.
All right, viewers, let's cut across right now to Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Heavy rains continue to lash the city, with most districts inundated.
Marina Beach, which is the world's second longest beach, and what we can see here is that behind me the entire service lane has been inundated, and this is the kind of scene that we are seeing at Marina. And already heavy rains have started to lash Chennai and several other suburban regions in and around Chennai city, as well as the coastal districts of Tamil Nadu, where all these places have been given a red alert by the Met Department. We've been told by officials that for the next 24 to 48 hours, Chennai city and its neighboring districts will have heavy rainfall, and especially the southern part of Tamil Nadu has been given red alert for 2 consecutive days. And you can now see the grey clouds moving into the Chennai city. This is the Marina Beach, and from here you can very clearly see the movement of the grey clouds into the interior parts of Chennai, so which means that there will be heavy rainfalls for the next 24 to 48 hours in the city. And at this point of time, the Met Department has requested that people be on alert and ensure that they do not venture out unnecessarily. This is a time when waterlogging can be witnessed in several parts already. Areas like Alwarpet, KK Nagar, Velacheri, many T Nagar, all these areas have been witnessing inundation, which were the places where we had witnessed localized flooding during the earlier rainfalls as well. So this time around as well, there has been warnings given to all these localities, and we can see that the rainfall is only increasing in and around Chennai city and the neighboring areas. So at this point of time, we need to wait and watch as to how the officials are going to handle the scenario, because localized flooding has become the new normalcy in and around Chennai city since November's beginning. With camera person Daniel from Chennai, this is Akshaya Nath for India Today.
All right, viewers, it seems the worst is still not over where COVID-19 is concerned. Scientists have now raised an alarm on a new mutant strain detected in South Africa.
It is not over yet. A new variant of COVID-19 is here. A worried South African government announced this on November 25th. The B.1.1.529 is the latest in the family of variants, causing a spike in cases in South Africa. So what is the new variant all about? The new variant detected has high number of mutations, 32 mutations. Director of the UCL Genetics Institute in London, Franco Boulay, reportedly hinted in a press release that the new variant could have evolved during chronic infection in an immunocompromised person, possibly an untreated HIV or AIDS patient. It can be detected with one particular type of PCR test.
B.1.1.529. So this is a variant that has been detected and reported to us from our colleagues in South Africa. There are fewer than 100 full genome sequences that are available. We don't know very much about this yet. What we do know is that this variant has a large number of mutations. And the concern is that when you have so many mutations, it can have an impact on how the virus behaves. So right now, researchers are getting together to understand where these mutations are in the spike protein and the furin cleavage site, and what that potentially may mean for our diagnostics, our therapeutics, and our vaccines.
About 100 cases of B.1.1.529 have been found in South Africa, most in Gauteng province in South Africa. The variant has spread from South Africa to Botswana, all the way till Hong Kong. 6 cases have been reported in South Africa, 3 in Botswana and 1 in Hong Kong. International governments have sounded alarm bells. A temporary flight ban will be in the place, and all travellers who have been in these countries must quarantine and take tests, said the UK Travel Advisory. The UK government has put South Africa, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Namibia and Zimbabwe back on the red list of countries for international travel on November 26th. India has also sounded an alert. The Union Health Minister has dashed off a letter asking all states and union territories to subject all international travellers entering India from at-risk countries to rigorous screening and testing. The WHO has designated 4 variants of COVID-19 as variants of concern: Alpha or the UK variant, Beta or the South African variant, Gamma or the Brazil variant, and Delta or the India variant. An emergency meeting called by the World Health Organization will decide the fate of the super variant and if countries must do more to restrict the spread of this new super variant.
At the moment, the Indian government has not resorted to imposing an international travel ban on countries like South Africa and Botswana. But sources in the government have informed that India is already operating within air bubbles with various countries. The message is now clear that international travelling and passengers will be screened rigorously and their samples will be collected for genome sequencing at entry points because a new variant is out to create havoc. With Pawan Kumar in New Delhi, Milan Sharma for India Today.
All right, viewers, what is intriguing in all of this is that while other countries are shutting flights due to the emergence of this new possible mutant variant, India is finally opening up its commercial flight sector. After 20 months long suspension, international commercial flights are set to resume. The Civil Aviation Ministry has announced resumption of international flights after almost 2 years. Dividing the countries into category based on risk factor, the flights will open up. Countries have been divided into 3 categories based on the risk factor. The first is no-risk countries, where full capacity flight operations will begin from India. Next is at-risk countries who have an air bubble with India. 75% pre-COVID flight operations will be allowed. And lastly, 50% services will be permitted with at-risk countries who have no air bubble with India. With that, viewers, I'm going to go into a quick break. You stay tuned. On the other side is a fact check segment.